everybody follow that, you know. And so that's like Kṛṣṇa. You know, Kṛṣṇa is like the trendsetter. He's always coming up with newer and more original and more clever and more cute and more amusing and more amazing pastimes. And this goes on eternally. You can't imagine, you know, like that conversation between Radharani and Kṛṣṇa. You know, Krishna's off being a rascal, and then she catches him red-handed, you know. And what does he do? He starts joking. You see? And because of this, she's like, oh, my Kṛṣṇa, you know. But she can't stay angry with him for very long. So, of course, Kṛṣṇa can do anything he wants. But still, there's this specific mood between Kṛṣṇa and Radharani, which is loving anger. Loving anger. He loves to provoke her. You know, he does this deliberately. There's the whole, you know, the Radharani and her girls are the left-wing gopis, and then there's the right-wing gopis of Chandravali and her party, right? So Kṛṣṇa plays them both against each other, and he goes back and forth, and it's a whole drama. I mean, literally it's a drama. But Vedānta, this word, comes up in the title of the dramas by Rupa and Sanatana Goswami called Vedānta-Madhava. Vedānta-Madhava means Kṛṣṇa who dresses himself very nicely. You know, so he's always very attractive looking, you know, he's like the leader of the pack, he's the coolest kid on the block. He's like, you know, got it all together, and he's like an artist. Kṛṣṇa is an artist. Try to understand. He's not, you know, it's like we get these pictures of God as being this like really serious guy who's like, you know, tweaking the universe and stuff like this. Well, maybe there's a part of him that does that, you know, but he himself in his original form he's partying, you know, he's an artist. He's like, you have to know people like that. I mean, to really get a picture of what Kṛṣṇa is like. You know, I ran into some really far out characters in my life as an artist. I used to live right downstairs from Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross. If anybody knows who they are. Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross they're jazz artists. They had a vocal, the only people in the whole jazz world that had a vocal trio. This is way before the swingle singers and all this. They were like classic jazz artists in the 50s and 60s. I used to live right downstairs from them, and oh boy. They were freaks, man. But anyway, John Hendricks, who was like the leader of the pack, this guy could make up songs, like on the spot. He could just make up songs. He did all the English words for all the famous bossa nova songs, like Girl from Ipanema, and you know, all those famous songs. He did all the lyrics for those in consultation with the original composer, who only spoke Portuguese. So yeah, he could. You could take. In fact, he did this one day. Somebody challenged him that I bet you can't make a song up out of this, and he played him a jazz solo, a blues solo by Sonny Rollins on the saxophone, and very complicated, right? And Hendricks, I mean, he just sat down and he made up a song, boom, right? You want to hear the song? It's a really funny song. Yeah. It goes, my analyst told me that I was right out of my head the way he described it. He said I'd be better dead than alive. I didn't listen to his jive. I knew all along that he was all wrong. He made up this whole song, like just right off the top of his head, on this jazz solo, and it was a complicated solo. I mean, it was like had all these modulations and all this stuff. So this is the kind of genius that we can have in this material world. Imagine what Kṛṣṇa is like, huh? Making up these songs and dances. When I was doing research on Vedic music, I found these exquisite passages by Narottam Das Thakur in books that have not yet been translated into English. And I had them translated by local scholars for the paper that I was writing, but they still haven't, as far as I know, been translated fully. Anyway, they were describing the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world, and how the gopis all were expert in music and dancing and singing, and playing musical instruments. And so the gopis would like assemble together, and they had like different groups of gopis would sing different melodies and dance in different ways, in different rhythms, to express different moods at different times in Radha and Krishna's pastimes. Now, who can imagine this? Huh? And these are the gopis. These are Krishna's devotees. And Krishna himself is in the middle of all of this, like improvising and, you know, kind of like directing the whole thing. And I mean, just, you know, Krishna is just too much. You can't imagine, you know. I mean, it's just fabulous. On the way up on the plane, I saw this Disney movie, High School Musical. And it's a total frou-frou nonsense movie. You know. But there's some incredibly talented young artists in this movie. Right? And they're about the same age as Krishna, you know, 16, 17, like that. And they're doing incredible stuff, dancing and, you know, singing. And of course it was a movie, so, you know, they only did one shot at a time. And so they put it together, it all looks wonderful. But actually nobody in this world can sing and dance like that, you know. For more than about 5 seconds. But when you have movie, video, or whatever, you can splice it together and make it look really fantastic. So anyway, I was watching this and thinking, wow, Krishna is doing better than that, and he's really doing it. He's not, you know, it's not like he has a coach saying, okay, now do this move, now do that move, you know, and then they film one scene at a time. You know, no. He's really doing it, and he's making it all up. And Krishna's creative intelligence is just so incredibly powerful and fertile and ever new, ever fresh, better and better and better. Try to understand. Huh? This is Krishna. You start to get the idea of Krishna's character. You know? Krishna is like he's God on vacation. You're just hanging out with his friends, you know, you're playing all these games. Sometimes in games, you know, you see kids playing games. And sometimes they appear to be fighting. And if you say, no, stop that fighting, they say, no, it's part of the game. I'm the cowboy, he's the Indian. They're fighting. We're part of the game. So, similarly, sometimes there appears to be conflict between Krishna and his devotees, or there appears to be anger, or there appears to be jealousy, or so many other things. But actually, this is just part of their game. See, it's just that their game is on such a higher level than our game that it's inconceivable to us. It's impossible for us to understand. If we were placed in that situation, we would freak out. We wouldn't be able to understand that this is a game, that this is enjoyment, it's pleasure. See? But because they're playing on such a high level, their understanding of love, their understanding of emotions, of aesthetics is so profound and so extensive that, you know, we'd just be lost by seeing the form of it. We wouldn't be able to grasp the essence of it. See, but this is what we have to do to become self-realized. This means we have to penetrate to the actual essence of Krishna's pastime. Krishna, his business is only to enjoy love. See, so he knows every flavor of love deeply, very, very deeply. And he's always inventing newer and newer ways of relishing these relationships. Nothing remains static. Nothing is hackneyed. Nothing is you know, just a Xerox copy of the day before. It's always new and completely fresh. And it goes on and on and on like this eternally. So try to understand how wonderful the spiritual world is. And we have to become qualified to enter into these pastimes. So this is why I want my disciples all to study the arts. Singing, dancing, speaking nicely, all these things, all these qualities that are displayed by Krishna. His devotees should also display. Okay. Not only because they are very valuable in Krishna's service, like in preaching, but also so that we gradually qualify ourselves to enter into Krishna's pastimes in the spiritual world. You know? You wouldn't want to be there and all the gopis are dancing and everything and you're just kind of standing there watching. That would be embarrassing, wouldn't it?